Good morning, everyone. It's Lee Henson, President and Founder of Agile Dad, and it's time for today's episode of the Daily Stand-Up. So without any further ado, let's get started. Today is Tuesday, and today we are going to focus our attention on the second piece of Boyd's OODA loop, which is Orient. Okay, so to me, the thing you really want to keep an eye on when you're trying to ship a new product or service are the factors that could significantly affect the delivery in a positive or negative way. So if you considered this putting on a hat of project management, you might look at this and classify some of this as risks because they relate to uncertainty of some kind. With that in mind, it's best to try to create something along the lines of like a risk impact map if you could. So it sounds extremely simple, but it's also extremely powerful. A risk impact map is a traditional project management favorite. So if you take that and you blend it with a little bit of design thinking, you can usually come up with something that identifies key risk categories. And then you can have customer and delivery centric risks that you can explore and figure out where you lie on the risk impact. Is it high or low risk? And what is the high or low impact, right? So when you try to get teams to assess risk, this isn't something that's easily done. So a lot of times I ask for my POBAFATA, my product ownership group, to really help. Now, ultimately, the product owner is a singular facet, and there's only one product owner, but no product owner should ever do things in a silo. So we talk about them working together with the help of a business analyst, functional analyst, and technical analyst to gather information based on strategic awareness, based on consumer need, and based on technological feasibility. And if you have that, then you can break down your risk into 4 categories. And the first one is desirability. Will a customer want it? i.e., our business analyst. That's where we're going to find out that information. And this person is going to provide that information to the product owner. Second one is feasibility. Can we technically build it, given our current environment? Do we have to update things? And of course, this is the technical analyst. Go figure. Viability. If we build it, will we be able to make money from it? This is strategic. This is your functional analyst. And finally, consumability. Will a consumer be able to find it and consume it, which is delivery. And I think that it's important to understand those because the truth is this concept of OODA loop came out so long ago, yet there was no form or function to help support it inside of a product ownership organization until Agile Dad came up with the concept of POBAFATA. So it does tie directly to this OODA loop concept. By providing this starting frame, this is a way to really orient risk towards holistic systems. It gives you a better view and helps expose any additional risks that would typically remain hidden. So it gives you an opportunity to really dig in and find risks that you're looking for. In practice, the truth is you'll find risks. Risks don't really fit into neat categories or boxes. So it's hard for you to really figure it out once you have it. So it's more important to capture risks and expose them than it is to perfectly categorize or align them. So I think it's just, and this is something I talk about all the time. I tell my people to do a risk assessment to the point where they say, does a risk exist, more so than how does the exposed risk, what is the level of impact? It's harder to do that. I do want to know the level of impact, but I don't necessarily want to put it inside of a box and categorize the types. So the information about the environment is obviously going to be imperfect. If you don't find every risk possible, that's not a problem. You should be focused on the primary risks, and what your team captures are likely things that are going to be the things that trouble them the most or trouble the end consumer the most. As long as you revisit this risk map that you create on a regular basis, at least once a quarter, if not more often, you can create a risk assessment mapping. And if you have that mapping, then you can decide, do I want to knock out the small things and de-risk it from the small things that have great impact? Do I want to work on the things that have the largest risk or uncertainty, even knowing they may not have high impact? And you need to figure out a way to break this down into quadrants that are going to help you organize the risk and also help you create a risk or debt backlog that you can tackle through. Now, one of the approaches I do want to warn you about is that a lot of people try to approach risk with a minimum monthly payment mentality where they're just going to do, we're going to take one person and actuate 10% of their time towards risk or whatever the case may be. And that never works. The best way for you to address risk is to make sure that you're looking at risk holistically and you're dedicating maybe a 2-week sprint to risk where you can say, hey, I'm going to put a whole 2-week sprint towards risk and address some of these risk related issues. And this can be done once a quarter or a couple times a quarter if necessary, or as you get better at it, you can spread risk out a little more and say, I'm going to do it once every 6 months if necessary. Because over time, you'll see your risk diminish as long as you continue to build a product or service in such a way that you're always analyzing where you are and inspecting and adapting. As long as you're using the empirical process, you may identify some new risk, but what you'll find overall is that your risk load should lessen over time. That's going to do it for this Tuesday episode. I hope you enjoyed the Daily Stand-Up. We always encourage you, if you have questions, concerns, comments, or a topic that you want us to discuss, drop it over to us at learnmoreatagiledad.com. We'd love to hear your topics, and as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.